Hello, America, and everywhere else in the world. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Corey Has a Podcast. I am your host, Corey Easley, and I'm back once again. I can't believe it. I know I'm still here. You're like, holy shit, I got a notification, and it said, Corey Has a Podcast is out one more time. There's a new episode. Yes, this is as current as possible because I did one of those things where I just totally forgot to record until the very last minute this week. And it's because I got a lot of shit going on in my life, you know? And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I got some things coming up, some announcements I'm going to make. Not that, you know, it's funny. Like, I make fun of shit all the time. I make fun of shit all the time, and I make fun of things people do until I do them. And that's okay. Right? Like, there's this Eminem verse where he's like, I'm becoming what I used to make fun of a smug son of a, like, and I think about that all the time because I have an announcement to make. And I'm like, people go online and they're like, well, I'm announcing this thing. And I'm like, who gives a shit what you announce? Who the fuck do you think you are? Who cares? You know, and I'm over here doing like, I got some announcements coming up. Like, who the fuck am I? Who cares? Right? But I like to scream into the void just like everybody else. So, hello. Hope you had a good first week of the year. I hope you got some really cool shit on the horizon. If you don't, fucking hang in there. Hang in there. You have a 100% survival rate of all of your hard days so far in life. I saw that somewhere, and I'm probably paraphrasing, but that's one of my favorite quotes recently. Things get tough. You kind of just got to be like, fuck it, this can't be forever. And when it's still going on for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, you got to kind of just still kind of keep hope somehow. Do shit for yourself that makes you happy, that kind of keeps you sane. I spent some time with my family right before I started doing this podcast, like this evening, like my little brother. And it's nice sometimes to get around your family, even if your family drives you crazy, or whatever it is, like whatever kind of relationship you have with them. It's kind of nice to hit that reset button. Get a little bit of a reminder of who you are and where you come from. Because even if you've evolved into some enlightened version of yourself and your family be on some bullshit, or says some ignorant, dumb shit that doesn't make any sense, and you know people can't even really get away with publicly talking like that anymore, you know, it doesn't matter. You love them anyway. That's your family, you know? And you leave the second you feel like leaving because you can, because you're an adult. You know, I love going to people because then I could leave. Go see the family, then you could get the fuck out. You could just be like, all right, I'm done. I'm done with this shit. I'm done with this conversation. Don't feel like having it anymore. I will not. That's the cool thing about, that's one of my biggest, my most widely used, and I think that's, I'm saying this shit wrong. That's one of my most used superpowers, if you will, if I may, is being able to just go, and fuck this, I'm done. Right? And you just stop, drop what you're doing, and leave. Just get up and go, you know? And I would like to sit here and try to act cool and be like, I'm an Irish exit kind of guy. I've Irish exited, especially back in my drinking days, you know? But I say bye to people. I like people to, I don't want motherfuckers looking for me, you know? I'm not going to go around the room and say bye to everybody. If you're too far away, if it's out of my way, I might not do it. But, you know, I say bye to people. If you're near the door on the way, hey, listen, I'll see you next time, you know? But I went and saw my grandma. I gave her a little hug and a kiss, and she was like, call me. And in my mind, I was like, why? But, you know, you got to give them a call. You got to do it. So she could fucking scream into the phone, ask you what you're doing. You could tell her what you're doing, and she'll have no idea what you're fucking talking about. And that's what old people do. It's some old people shit. You know, like my grandma said, you might see me in the newspaper tomorrow, because I'm like, first of all, when the fuck was the last time you saw a newspaper, right? I don't know. I got Apple News on my phone. She asked me if I had a calendar. She said, Corey, you got a calendar? You know, they just like to give you shit. You got a calendar? I'm like, Yeah, on my phone. And then she didn't hear me say that. Thank goodness, because I almost fucked up. I said, yeah, I got a calendar already, because she wanted to give me one of those pharmacy calendar. Or it might have been one of them Chinese calendars that roll out like a scroll that you hang. Like, I'm not putting that shit on my wall. Right? I'm not doing that. But she's not going to come to my apartment anyway. So even if I did take it, I would have to leave and just throw it in the fucking trash can on my way home. And she would never know. But I would feel like an asshole doing it. But I would still do it. Because I don't want to have junk and shit in my apartment. But anyway. Yeah. It's been a first week of 2023. And not too many people have said Happy New Year to me. You know what I mean? Like, just the right amount. Like, I see people that I haven't seen since January 1st turned into a reality, and they're like, hey, Happy New Year. And now that I've survived the first week, I'm not saying it anymore. I'm not saying it to anyone else. People say it to me, I'll say it back, but I'm not going to be the first one. I'm not going to lie. I was the first one. I saw people come up, people walk into the room. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Happy New Year, by the way. You know, my interactions, there was a lot of Happy New Year. But now, no more, right? It's January 8th currently. January 9th when this comes out. And I just don't feel like, I feel like it's done now, you know? Truth be told, you know, my brother's birthday is January 6th. And I kind of just go off that as a general rule of when I stop acting like it's the fucking holidays and shit. But, you know, I don't mind Christmas lights. Like, I don't mind string lights hung up all over the place. But, you know, we could put the Santa Claus away. The snowman could hang out. The snowman could be around. Like, snow is going to happen potentially, right? Like, we could have the snowman out or the snow person. I'm surprised nobody's gotten upset about the snowman yet. There's a snow woman. Does she have a snow vagina? I don't know. Snow people, right? They exist because we invented them, right? Like that movie Jack Frost with Michael Keaton, where the father dies at the top of the movie. Boom, father's dead. Merry Christmas. And then he comes back as a snowman. So, but he lives in a place where they get all 4 seasons, right? So it would have been kind of cool if Michael Keaton, the snowman, got to be a snowman and they lived in like Lapland, Finland, right? Which is where the North Pole is. For those of you who don't know a goddamn thing about geography, Lapland, Finland is where Santa Claus lives. And if you go to Lapland, Finland, there is a Santa's workshop. There is a Santa Claus house. There are reindeer just walking around. They got big antlers. They got hooves, and they're big, you know. And I don't know about the whole legend of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I feel like the world is ready for a Rudolph movie that is not outdated anymore. We need an update, right? We updated the Grinch. Personally, I prefer the cartoon, but what are you going to do? So anyway, Jack Frost, snowman movie. Snowman, guy dies on his way home to his family. Doesn't make it home to his family because he dies. Comes back. His spirit is now lives inside of a snowman, which at the end of the winter is going to melt. And spoiler alert, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to turn this podcast off right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The snowman melts at the end of the movie, okay? And he's dead for good now, you know? And nobody thought, oh, let me take a little piece of dad and stick him in the freezer. So that way, every time I open the freezer, I could be like, hey, what's going on, Dad? And then I could occasionally bring him out. Just the head. Just the head. Nobody thought about that. Right? But I guess that would be selfish, right? Maybe he didn't want to be a snowman. You know? Maybe he went to a better place. You know? Maybe he could come back and tell us it's way cooler to be dead than alive. right? Because nobody knows. Nobody knows. It kind of brings me back to an old conversation that I had with myself on this podcast one time where I was talking about how people always talk about, oh, that's the worst way to die. That's the worst way to die. Turning into a snowman, that's the worst way to die. Everybody loves talking about the worst way to die, right? Like they fucking, like somebody has come back to life and been like, all right, so burning alive really sucked, but I think drowning was worse. Like no one has done that, so I'm just not buying it. And plus, once you're dead, right? I think so. You wouldn't feel it anymore. Do you feel yourself fucking turning into a tree? Right? I don't know. Do cannibals take ashes of other people's bodies and sprinkle them on their food sometimes? Does that count? The cannibal diet? One of my friends had a joke in stand-up one time. He's like, I'm not going to do it. If I do it, I'm going to ruin it. I'm going to butcher it. It's not my joke. I can't tell it. It's about cannibalism, though. So just assume it was about people eating people, in case you didn't know what cannibalism was. So anyway, new things on the horizon, big announcements coming up. I really feel like there's things that I need to work on, right? Like, and one of them is I need to start cooking other things than what I cook. I'll go to Whole Foods and I'll buy like bison, or I'll buy like some like lean ground beef, or I'll get like lean ground turkey. I don't make enough chicken. I just don't make chicken like I usually like. I'll like go to my girl's crib and she'll make chicken. I don't make the chicken. I don't make chicken because I just feel like it's a lot more complicated to make, and I feel like I'm gonna make it, it's gonna be dry. It's gonna be dry like the fucking hot food area in Whole Foods. And when you buy food from there and the chicken tastes fucking horrible, like you need to pour water on it. And I walk around telling people I can cook. But the truth of the matter is I can cook, and I think most people can cook. Like if you have a stove and you can just turn the fire on, you can cook. You can follow directions. It's not like back in the day. Like we have the internet. I don't think people understand how different things were. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, cell phones didn't have cameras on them, but like there was a point in time. That means that like my mom had to get to a computer to find something. You had to print stuff out so you could have it. You couldn't just like pull it out of your pocket at any given time, right? Like if you had tickets to something, you had to like actually go to the box office. Like you had to print out directions on MapQuest, and we just have this shit. So you can go pull out recipes and just cook shit. You could make chicken piccata. You could be like fucking Gordon Ramsay in your own house. You could be a hero. Or you could just order shit and have parts of the meal get delivered to you that you don't know how to cook. Like there's a restaurant, they serve chicken breast. You can just order it. And then you could make the fucking Brussels sprouts and you could put it all together. You know? You can do it like that. But there's so many different options you can put together. I had a guy the other day tell me that he was making geese. Client of mine, German guy. He said, I got 2 geese. And I was like, holy shit, I don't think I've ever eaten a goose before. I do not believe I've ever eaten a goose. I've had duck. And duck kind of tastes a little bit like chicken, but I feel like chicken is the, that's the thing that we decided is like what we compare everything to. Tastes like chicken. Tastes like chicken. Duck tastes a little bit like chicken, but like different still. Like chicken that can swim. And I do believe that ducks can take over the world. And I've been saying this shit for a long time. They got webbed feet. They got dicks that look like wine openers, corkscrews. They can extend as long as, like, it's like some Inspector Gadget type shit. Look it up. I'm not just being gross or weird because I'm just some dude. Like, look it up. Google duck penis. And I know what you think. Now my phone is going to be on some government watch list. No, it's just you're curious. You got a curious mind. And you want to see if what I'm saying is true. If you didn't know this already, look it up. Ducks have feathers on them. They have beaks. They can fly. They are birds, but they can also submerge themselves underwater. And if ducks had hands, they would take over the world. But they're nice. I'd have a pet duck. They walk funny. They're kind of cute. Some of them have a little white ring around their neck. I've always thought ducks were cool. They make a cool sound. Whack, 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 whack. Right? I don't know. I like that. I think that's cool. It's cool to me. I like turtles. I love turtles. Remember that kid? I really hope that kid has a lot of money. I hope he's successful. The I Love Turtles kid. Hey, so everybody's got plans this Halloween. We're going trick-or-treating and blah-da-da-da. And what are you going to do, kid? I love turtles. That's what that kid said. He said, I love turtles. And I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I know this for certain. I love turtles. I love that kid because he was so sure of himself. He was so sure of himself. And I don't think I ever had that kind of confidence at his age. He had to be like fucking 5 years old. And I probably did love turtles. But the confidence with which that kid said, I love turtles. I mean, I hope he's a fucking billionaire or something. I hope nothing bad happened to him. You know, because we need people like that in the world. I'd vote for him. I don't even like politicians. I don't give a shit. I don't care about politics. I would vote for that kid. If he was up, I would take my ass down to a fucking the ballots and choose that leadership. That's what I would do. They'd be like, oh, it's the I Love Turtles kid. He's all grown up now. He's 47 years old. He's probably younger than I am. He's probably in his 20s, going through shit that you go through in your 20s. I was talking to my dad recently. Had a really cool conversation with my dad. We were just talking about growing up poor, growing up in the Bronx. He said to me, you know, my mom, she never really taught us how to have money. All she would do is talk about how, like, remind us how broke we were, right? Like, and I didn't have any guidance from my dad, so I had to learn how to make money on my own. And nobody teaches you how to keep money. You got to learn that shit too, right? And I was just like, man, I was really just thinking back, like, you know, I spent my whole 20s in bars, spending my money on girls and booze. It's just what I did. And I said that to my dad. He's like, yeah, but you know, that's part of it. You know, that's part of your story. That's like, we all do that shit. You know, you can't give a fucking kid in his 20s 80 grand a year and his own place and expect him not to be irresponsible, right? But you got it. But you know, you learn and you got to align yourself with the right people, talk to the right people, and it was just nice. I just had a really nice conversation with my dad about, like, you know, he was like, it's funny because motherfuckers would tell you shit sometimes. Like, they'll be like, yeah, man, you're doing great because you get to do what you love. So you're already successful, but you'll be broke. Meanwhile, those people that tell you that are fucking rich and they're not doing that. So it's like, you got to think about, like, what do you want? What do you want with your life? You want some financial mobility? You want security? Or do you want to just keep, you know, being nice all the time? There's nothing wrong with it, but I think we can stand to learn. We could stand to learn to put ourselves in a better position and be more responsible. I'm just kind of tired of I'm just being real right now. I'm just kind of tired of learning lessons the hard way. You know, I want to educate myself and then do things in the order that they need to be done. So that's my focus. I think that's going to be my goal for 2023. To put myself in a better position financially, mentally, emotionally, all these things. Because I also feel like I'd like to have conversations with people where I could educate and pass that on, you know? And I'd like to just be less anxious, right? Like all of us. I'd like to get better sleep. I'd like to be healthy. I'd like to have all my workouts go well every fucking day that I train. Which is not to say that I'm not going to have days where something that felt fine last week feels too heavy this week. But just like when I say fine, I mean like I want to get in and at the same time, at a decent time, do what I came to do. And that's it. And how the workout goes, it depends on the day, right? But like I just want to be able to feel good. And I think I'm headed there. Keeping a positive fucking attitude. Keeping a real good attitude and surrounding myself with people with good attitudes, right? It's like you get to a point where it's like, yo, you could love people from a distance too. People that you used to hang out with, people you used to spend a lot of time around. You could love those people from a distance. That's okay. You know, because people love reminding you, man, you used to do this. It's like, haha. I don't want to be around people that keep talking about the shit I used to do. Like, all right, bro. I saw this thing the other day. This girl was like, how do you know when it's time to break up with a friend? And she said, I know it's time to break up with a friend. I'm going to leave you on this because this is going long. She said, I know when I'm ready to break up with a friend when they refuse to relate to who I am now. All they want to do is keep talking about a version of me that I no longer identify with or some shit like that. And I was like, yo, that's mad real. How annoying is it to, because your family does that. You get around your family. Oh, I remember when you used to carry that Kermit the Frog doll around. It's like, yeah, I know. I'm 33 now. Like, I was like 5 when I did that shit. But yeah, I also remember that. Like, that shit is like, all right, bro. Cool. What else you got? You know, talk to me about ideas. Talk to me about your plans for your growth. What have you done for you? I want to admire the people I'm around. I want the people I'm around to be doing such dope shit that I'm like, damn, I got to get on that level. I don't want to be around a bunch of motherfuckers that I'm like, damn, you motherfuckers are still doing this shit? Like, no shade, but I'm not really with it. You know, my mind is somewhere else. But I wish you all the best. And I hope you guys have a great week. And be powerful. And be strong. And be you. Say no to shit you don't want to do. And say yes to whatever you do. Say yes to yourself. And get some sleep. All right. Have a good day. Later.